So good morning and a warm welcome to one and all participants in this webinar. So it is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Surinder Katoch. Dr. Katoch, founder and director of Katoch Holistic Health Center. She is an Ayurvedic physician, holistic health consultant and yoga expert. Dr. Katoch has worked as a lecturer in Dayanand Ayurvedic College, Jalandhar, Punjab, as an assistant professor, Dhanvantari Ayurvedic College, Chandigarh, and as a medical officer in Mulchand Khatri Ram Hospital, New Delhi, as well as Muraji Desai National Institute of Yoga, New Delhi. She is invited a guest speaker to various national and international conferences. She was sent by Government of India to Hungary in 2008 under the medical education program to train the health professionals. In 2010, she visited Slovakia, delivering lecture, conducting workshop. She also delivered a talk in European Ayurveda Academy, Dresden, Germany. In 2014, she conducted a 2 weeks program on holistic health and Ayurveda, Moscow, Russia. In June 2017, she was deputed as a resource person by Government of India for an Ayurveda symposium at St. Petersburg, Russia, with the main aim of propagating of Ayurveda. Now I request Dr. Rohit Singh, our Dean of Academic, to give the welcome address and introduce the university.
Sir. Thank you, Devi. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have Dr. Surinder Katoch with us on the webinar on Ayurveda and the lifestyle. Thank you, Devi, for organizing it. We have with us Dr. Om Dwivedi, who is heading the School of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences. Ma'am, we are doing a series of webinars covering the different aspects of life and education. Our university was established in the year 2011 onto the teachings and philosophy of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. And there are 4 elements which we try to bring into the teaching and learning pedagogy at the university. Most important is the physical. That is what we are going to talk about in this, and then the mental, the vital, and the spiritual aspect. All these 4 aspects we try to bring into some kind of form into the classroom teaching and learning for the student. At the same time, at the same point of time, faculties are also getting an opportunity to enhance their process of learning by getting into these 4 aspects. Devi is looking after the few aspects of the physical education which we are trying to do, and was basically focusing upon the various aspects of life, including food, nutrition, health, and habits. And that is why we are having this webinar, and we thought you are the right person for us to be here and talking to the audience. Thank you so much for accepting our request, and looking forward for your session. Yes, Devi, over to you.
Thank you, sir. So now I request Dr. Katoch, it is over to you. Audience can ask the question after ma'am deliver her lecture, and they can raise the hands and we'll allow to ask the question directly to ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's over to you.
A very good morning to you all. It's my pleasure to be a part of Oro University today and conducting this webinar. So it's a privilege because I'm attached to Sri Aurobindo Ashram, New Delhi from more than 10 years. So it's really a privilege for me to be a part of the webinar of the Oro University students today. The topic for today is Ayurveda for healthy living. So sir, as you said that we are working at the physical level and the mental level and the spiritual level separately. But once we talk about Ayurveda, so when we say that Ayurveda for healthy living, so healthy has the alphabet HEALTHY. So I would like to just say what each stands for according to Ayurveda. So H is Ayurveda believes in holistic health. So that means if we want to remain healthy, we have to work every day at the physical level, mental level, social level, and spiritual level. All the 4, then only we get health, otherwise we are not healthy. Because the definition of health in Ayurveda is Samdosha Samagnisha Samadhatu Mantriya Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha Swasthya Vidyate. So this definition itself has the four components, which are physical, mental, social, and spiritual. All the four together takes us towards the status of holistic health. Now, to gain this holistic health, on an average, the thought which we have is eat. That is, eat well and do exercises. If we do these two things, we'll get holistic health. Then one more thing if we add is A. The attitude should be positive. So live with a positive attitude. This much we go ahead. A bit more. Then a bit more L. L is have a good lifestyle. Now comes the point which is T. What lifestyle? What to eat? What exercises to do? How to remain healthy and how to enter into a zone of status of holistic health. That is what is the basic fundamental of Ayurveda, which is T. T is Traya Upastambha, the three pillars of health of Ayurveda. So as we say, if we construct a building, we first have pillars. And if we break the pillars, the building falls. Similarly is health. Health has three main pillars according to Ayurveda, which is termed as Traya Upastambha, the three pillars of health. And they are, the first is Ahar, the food. The second is Nidra, the sleep. And the third is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya having two major meanings. One is celibacy, the other is Acharan Brahma Jaisa Ho. So our conduct should be like Brahman, because Aham Brahma Asmi. So I am a part of that. So therefore I need to have qualities of that. So that is what is Ahara, Nidra, Brahmacharya. These three things we need to focus every day upon if we really want to enter into a zone of, next H is harmony within body, mind, organs and soul. Because Ayurveda says this sharir, ye jo sharir bana, this body, the human body or any life, it has four components. One is sharir, the akriti of that. Then is indriya, the sense organs and the motor organs. Then is all the body organs. And then is atma, the soul. So sharir, indriya, sattva, atma ka sanyog is equal to jeev. That is life. So therefore, if we follow the Traya Upastambha, then we enter into a zone of the healthy lifestyle, which we said the next H, we develop harmony within body, mind, organs and soul. And then comes the Y of healthy. And the Y is yoga becomes a major tool into it. Adopting yoga again goes ahead to a situation that we enter into a zone of physical, mental, social, spiritual well-being, because Ayurveda and yoga both believe in holistic health and both take us towards that level. So this is a basic first fundamental, that if we want to enter into a zone of healthy living, what Ayurveda talks about. Now we take each separately, the Traya Upastambha. Now the first part is Ahar. Ahar, Nidra, Brahmacharya. These were the three main pillars of health. So when we talk about Ahar, the food, usually the concept and the people think about is what to eat. So main focus goes upon what to eat. And number of information comes towards the concept of what to eat. But Ayurveda has many more points. What to eat, when to eat, how to eat, how much to eat, what to do before food and what to do after. All these 6 points club up, and then the concept of food begins. So what thought we have is that we should have organic food, we should have fruits, we should have vegetables. If we are consuming this, we are eating healthy. No, dear friends, only eating healthy food does not mean that that food has been digested properly. Because ultimately, what is going to make a good body, a good mind, good organs, and good soul is the digestion part of that food what you have eaten. After digestion, the assimilation comes, and then that nutritious food is supplied through the circulatory system to each cell of the body. And then actually the body builds up. So if we are following all the 6 points, that is what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, what to do before food and what to do after food. If we have this knowledge and we use this knowledge in our daily routine, we apply it, we enter into the practical implementation of this knowledge every day, then only we enter into a zone of proper digestion. And once this proper digestion happens, then the nutritious food which is supplied to the whole body. Maybe you are not having organic food, maybe you have very little to eat, but if that is digested properly, that solves the problem. And on the contrary, if you have wonderful food, you have all organic food, you have all delicious food, you have all sattvic ahar, but you are not following the other points, then again you don't build up a good body, mind and soul. So that is it. We need to consider all the 6 aspects of food. I'll come to each one by one. Then is the second concept of the 3 pillars is Nidra, the sleep. Now the sleep pattern has totally changed now. Even if I talk with school children, school teachers, college students, college teachers, or working people or housewives, any age group, any work profile, on an average we get this, that people usually go to sleep after 10 p.m. Why? Because there is a lot of work to do. And people usually think this, that night is the time where there is peace, and that is my time, now I can work. Even all scholars, all persons who are writing, all lawyers, majority of them, they do their work after 10 p.m. considering that that is the most peaceful time. But dear friends, that is the disastrous time if we are awake after 10 p.m. Now, when I was delivering a lecture at Germany with the European Academy of Ayurveda, I just told them one sentence which I learned when I was a school student, and that was also taught in our family during my upbringing, and that became my habit. Till date, that is my habit. And the sentence was, which is almost everybody would be knowing it: early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Now, this sentence, when I delivered this during my lecture with Germans at Germany, I got an answer back because everybody laughed. So I said, I also want to laugh. Are you all cracking jokes? Just I want to share it. So then they said, no, dog, we are thinking about some other sentence which we usually speak in Germany. So when they told me that sentence is not only of Germany, that is at a global level nowadays. And the sentence was, early to rise and early to bed. Early to rise and early to bed makes a man socially dead. So this whole social network at the electronic level, maybe WhatsApp, Twitter, Insta, your work profile, working on computers, everything, usually people do after 10 p.m. and the whole social network is at night. So this, dear friends, Nidra is a pillar of health in Ayurveda. And Ayurveda says, even yoga says this, the same. We say this, but we don't enter into the practical implementation. And that is, getting up time in the morning is Brahma Muhurat. And Brahma Muhurat is on an average 1.5 to 2 hours before sunrise. And an adult needs to have on an average 6 to 8 hours of night sleep. not day sleep. Day is not for sleeping in Ayurveda. It is only night sleep. So at night, we need to have 6 to 8 hours of night. And getting up time is Brahma Muhurat. So on an average, we say 4 o'clock, or maximum we are getting up at 5 o'clock. So if we take an average in between 6 to 8 hours, so we take 7 hours as the night sleep. So if 7 hours we need to have a night sleep, then the maximum duration and the time when we need to go to sleep is 10 p.m. Then only if you get up at 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, you have 7 hours of night. So therefore, getting up is Brahma Muhurat. Accordingly, we need to adjust our timing of going to sleep. Now, Ayurveda says the whole concept of Ayurveda revolves around Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So, Vata Kapha is the theory of Ayurveda, and Panch Tattva, the Akash, Vayu, and Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. So, when we club up, Akash plus Vayu is equal to Vata. Agni plus Jal is equal to Pitta, and Jal plus Prithvi is equal to Kapha. Now we have an Adi, Madhya and Antakal of everything. There is a beginning of something, there is a mid of something, and there is end of something. Whether we take a research project, we first start the research project, then we enter into the middle part of it, and then we end the research project. If we are eating, we start our food, then the mid-digestion part comes, and then the digestion is completed. Once our life starts, the mid-age comes, and the life ends. So everything has Adi, Madhya and Anta, the start, mid and the beginning of everything. Now what Ayurveda says, anything, the starting part is Kapha, the mid part is Pitta, and the end part is Vata. Now we take it with day and night. We have 24 hours in our hands. Now we divide these 24 hours into 12 hours each. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. we keep as day, and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. we keep as night. Now there is Adi, Madhya, Antakal of day and Adi, Madhya, Antakal of night. Adi is Kapha, mid is Pitta and end is Vata. So now we start with night, which starts from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. How this clock affects our body, this we need to understand. So 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. because if we divide these 12 hours into 3, the Adi, Madhya, Antakal, each will have 4 hours. So 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the time of Kapha. And Kapha is heavy in nature. Usually, if you all think, everybody on an average has a tendency to sleep in between 6 to 10 hours, 10 p.m. because a person feels sleepy. Maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, a person feels sleepy, but we neglect that urge which is coming within us, either by working or by drinking coffee or by being busy in any other thing. We neglect that urge of sleep. On an average, in between 6 to 10 p.m., that urge comes, but we neglect it and take it beyond 10 p.m. and then you don't feel that sleepy, and then you feel that now I'm alert and a person can work after 10 p.m. But 6 to 10 p.m. is the time of Kapha. It is a natural urge. Ayurveda always takes us close to nature. And Ayurveda always says, be very close to nature, follow the natural things so that we can avoid all sorts of disasters coming in our life. And when we are talking right now about health, so that means the disaster which is going to come is disease. So sleeping after 10 p.m., now 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., that is the time we call as midnight. And mid is Pitta. And Pitta is fire. So fire is, what is the function of fire? Fire will burn. Or fire can also heal. Because suppose if there is iron bar and it breaks into two, we do welding. We require heat in that. We require energy for that. So that is the time of energy, the Pitta. And that is the natural time of rejuvenation. Because the whole day when we are working, there is wear and tear of cells. And 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the time of Pitta, and that is the time of natural repair. So natural rejuvenation occurs at that time, but that will happen only when we are asleep. If we are busy in any activity, studying, talking, working on computer, household work, anything, if we are busy in any other activity, then that energy is utilized in performing that activity. So the chapter of rejuvenation starts decreasing and the chapter of degeneration starts increasing. And that is one of the major causes that in today's time, when I was a medical student and studying my course, we used to read that all degenerative diseases happen after the age of 40. But in today's time, in my private practice and also working at Sri Aurobindo Ashram, I get patients with degenerative diseases in 20s, and even at the teenage level we are getting nowadays. So that means because everybody at night they don't sleep. Even I have come across certain patients who say, "Doctor, I don't want to sleep." I said, "Why you don't want to sleep? Sleeping is just wastage of time." My goodness, what do people speak nowadays? And what Ayurveda says is, Nidra Ardha Roga Haranam, means that your sleep, proper night sleep, is your treatment of any disease. If you are having any disease, 50% of the treatment is proper night sleep. And people today don't want to sleep. So the next type of disease which is becoming very common nowadays is cancer, autoimmune diseases, depression, aggression, frustration, all sorts of psychological disorders and psychiatric problems. These are happening a lot. Why? One of the major reasons is people enter into a zone of deprivation of sleep and night awakening. These are two major reasons why we are having these types of diseases a lot in today's time. So dear friends, if only sleeping at right time can give you health, wealth and wisdom, then what is the problem? What is the problem in sleeping? I don't understand that. But I tell you, whenever I take lectures outside India, people try to follow the concept immediately. When I took this lecture in Germany, the very next day I found people coming to me. I said, "What happened today?" "Oh, doc, we slept by 10 and we got up at 5 and we are here at 6 o'clock with you." I said, "Wow." I said, "How are you feeling?" "We are feeling great." So we just need to change our habits. Maybe they did suddenly, but we can enter into gradual change and we see the beauty. Because in the morning, if we develop a habit of getting up at Brahma Muhurat and then seeing the sunrise and the changes of the color in the sky, being close to nature, that is a wow factor. And the only thing which we need in our life is health and happiness. And for happiness, viewing the nature in the morning and seeing the change of colors in the sky, it's a beauty. But we don't get up at this time, we are asleep. Even if we get up, we become busy in our household work or any other work. We don't go out and see this beauty. And what a wow factor, and you become so happy. That much happiness is enough to be consumed the whole day. So dear friends, sleeping at night at proper time is very, very important if we really want to enter into a zone of rejuvenation and proper repair of ourselves. That energy, that pitta, we need to honor that energy of night so that it can very well be used for our health. Then why it is that we need to get up at Brahma Muhurat? Brahma Muhurat comes in between 2 to 6 a.m. time. Because in summer, the sunrise would be at approximately 5:30. So the Brahma Muhurat, if we think about 1.5 hours before, it comes out to be 4 o'clock. In winters, if the sunrise is by 7:30, then the time will come as 6 o'clock. So the range will always be in between 2 to 6 a.m. the Brahma Muhurat. If you go to Japan, the land of rising sun, the sun may rise at 4 o'clock. So the Brahma Muhurat is 2:30 a.m. So this way the Brahma Muhurat time on an average comes in between 2 to 6 a.m. and that time is the end time of night. That is the end of night. And Antkal, the end time is the time of Vata. So starts the Adikal, the night started at 6 p.m. So 6 to 10 p.m. is time of Kapha. So that is the time to go to sleep. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is time of Pitta. That is the rejuvenation time. And getting up time is in between 2 to 6 a.m. and that is the time of Vata. And Vata is light in nature. Vata is light in nature. So once you want to get up in the morning, how do you want to feel? You want to feel heavy or you want to feel light? So once you develop a habit of getting up in between 2 to 6 a.m. with a proper night sleep of 6 to 8 hours, then the actual duration is good and you enter into a zone of good health. Am I audible to all? Because I'm having certain...
yes, ma'am, that's fine. Voice is clear.
It's clear, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So, now this was regarding sleep. So, sleeping time in between 6 to 10 p.m. and getting up time in between 2 to 6 a.m. If we do this, we get devoid of so many diseases and enter into a zone of, which was the statement I started with, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. Because nowadays when I ask people that how much time do you give to your own self, everybody has an answer: we don't have time. And Ayurveda, once we split these 3 pillars, then Ayurveda again has one more thing which we call as rule of 4 for 4. The rule of 4 for 4. So what is 4 we want? We want 4 things which are physical health, mental health, social health and spiritual health. These are the 4 things we want. How will we get them? We need to work at 4 levels. We need to work at 4 things. And all the 4 every day. Once we work upon them, then only we can get 4 things. So this is a rule of 4 for 4. So what are those 4 things on what we need to work on every day? The first is the same, ahar, the food. The second is vihar. Vihar means our daily schedule. Right from the time we get up in the morning till we go to sleep at night, that all comes under the category of vihar. The third is achar, our conduct, our behavior. And the fourth is vichar, our thoughts. So we need to work at ahar, vihar, achar and vichar. These 4 things we need to work every day to get 4 things which are physical, mental, social and spiritual well-being. So this is rule of 4 for 4. So in this, once we enter into the vihar path, there I put a question to people that how much time amongst 24 hours you take out for your own self. And usual answer we get is no time, because we don't have time. Then I ask, what are the duties and responsibilities you are performing the whole day? On an average, if I ask a female who is a married female, working for children, working for husband, working for in-laws, doing because she's a working lady also, doing her whole work profile, then again coming back, again taking care of home, and the day and night is gone. And again entering into a zone of deprivation of sleep, proper sleep schedule. If I ask the MNC people, the multinational corporation sector and the company people, they keep on working day and night and they don't have time at all. So nobody has time. So I always say one thing, that now at least this corona is giving us something very positive. What all we in this fast life, the style of working which we were doing, this corona is teaching us, take out time for your own self. We never had time. So it is said that Dashmant, Daan mein de, the meaning is 1/10 give in charity. When I ask people 1/10 give in charity, what is the meaning of it? Usual answer I get is, whatever is your per month income, 1/10 of that income we should give in charity and help the community. But I say a second part in it. This of course is one meaning, but I take out the second meaning of it. And second meaning is, charity begins from self and charity begins from home. And in this charity I say, from 24 hours you have in a day, take out 1/10 of 24 hours for your own self. So if we take out 1/10 of 24 hours, it comes out on an average 2.5 hours. Now these 2.5 hours, I'm talking about working days. Once it is a holiday, we should take out more time for ourselves. So on working days, it is a minimum of 2.5 hours we need to take out for our own self. Because if we want to remain physically, mentally, socially, spiritually healthy, we need to work upon ourselves. But if we don't have time only to work upon ourselves, then how will we work? And how will we remain healthy? We cannot remain healthy. The jobs which were, they were all target-oriented jobs. Whether we come to the health sector or education sector or multinational companies, anyway, the trend had come up that everywhere you had targets. And always job is a target-oriented job. And we are so smart and so energetic to meet that target. Because we know, if we don't meet that target, we don't get our salary. And we are very prompt, very active, very energetic to meet those targets. Then I put a question to all those people whom I teach. I said, you got this life. Do you think that there is some target of this life also? Aren't you responsible for your own life? Don't you think that you have to make this life meaningful? If it is what you are doing just and not taking out time for your own self, then what exactly you got this human life, which is the biggest creature of this, the Almighty, which is the Almighty has produced. So we think ourselves very powerful. We need to take out time for our own self and a minimum of 2.5 hours. In that, we need to work at all levels, that is, do something at the physical level, mental level, social level and spiritual. Now we need to remain happy. Now what usually happens is, everybody has some areas of interest. Somebody would be interested in music, dancing, singing, gardening, painting, writing, anything, knitting, any art and craft, anything. So what happens is, when we start our daily schedule, daily works. Somehow with age, we forget that. We forget our areas of interest and we get lost. We get so much busy in our work that area of interest is in the cupboard now. We even forget what area of interest we have. So I always tell people, you want to remain happy in this 2.5 hours or during holidays, take out more time. Do take out time to work upon your area of interest every day. Like I am a badminton player. Till date, I in the evening have to go for playing badminton. So whatever your areas of interest are, singing, dancing, everything, we should do that. So that's very, very important to remain happy, because that is a birthright. I want to remain happy, I want to remain energetic, I have to do something. So that is what we need to take out time, and then only we can work upon ourselves, otherwise we can't. Now I switch on to AHAR so that I don't miss that point. And if you have any questions, then we can go ahead. See, in AHAR, on an average, the concept which has come up is low fat, low calorie, high fiber diet. And this concept is at the global level. And this is what is this concept. We should not always look towards the West. All these types of, they come from Harvard University or from the West. So whenever we say low fat, low calorie, high fiber diet, then we should think that this knowledge came from West. Now when this knowledge came, 1-2 decades back, this knowledge came. At that time, what was the food habit of Western culture? Their foods were mainly non-vegetarian, drinks, more of bakery products, lot of cheese. This was their main food habit. So this type of food habit, where you are on non-vegetarian diet, you are totally on bakery products, having lot of cheese, having lot of cold drinks or juices, this type of diet, this is high calorie and low fiber. The fiber component is almost negligible in this type of diet. Now, for those people, low fat, low calorie, high fiber diet is right. But now come to your Indian concept. Whether we go to East, West, North, South India, anywhere, or Central India, anywhere, on an average, what is our food habit on a daily basis? We eat dal, roti, sabzi, chawal, thali on an average. This is our. So we have dal, we have vegetables, we have pulses, we have fruits, we have milk and milk products. So on an average, our meal is dal, roti, sabzi, chawal. This is on an average. Now once you will consider this thali, the Indian thali of East, West, North, South India anyway, that thali is mainly not high calorie, not high fat, but it is full of fiber. Dal has fiber, vegetable has fiber, fruits has fiber, even the anaj, the roti, chawal, they have fiber. So our diet is full of fiber. Then my question comes, why do we eat so much of salad nowadays? There is no need of eating so much of salad. Salad with food is a concept of Western culture when they used to have that type of food, high fat, high calorie, low fiber. So for compensating this fiber, salad was their component. But our food is full of fiber, then why do we eat salad? Now here comes the concept of Ayurveda, which we call as Viruddh Ahar, incompatible food items. There are few food items which should not be clubbed together and eaten. And this eating salad with cooked food is one of the Viruddh Ahar. Cooked and uncooked should not be consumed together. But we do it every day. So too much of salad is not indicated in Ayurveda. It's not indicated. Especially once we are consuming together, it's not indicated. Then comes the concept of milk and milk products. I'm talking about few myths because then I'll have the questions, any questions you have. Few myths which are prevalent. The myths regarding milk and milk products. So in milk and milk products, like we have doodh, ghee, makhan, malai, dahi, cheese, paneer, all these things. Amongst milk and milk products, the products which should be consumed daily, every day, Ayurveda says, दूध और घी, इन दो चीजों का सेवन प्रतिदिन करें. Daily we should consume milk and ghee. If anybody has any intolerance, that is a separate issue. Then it comes into disease category. But here I am talking in general. So in general, milk and ghee should be consumed by everyone every day and all age groups. This is the concept of Ayurveda. And dahi, curd. Curd should not be consumed every day and specifically at night. It should not be consumed. So this is, then if you have any further questions, it will be better I'll be entering into the answers. That would be more interactive session. So this much is, milk and ghee should be consumed every day and curd should not be consumed every day, and especially at night it should not be consumed. Then comes the concept of, in the myth of the diet, is black tea or black coffee. Tea and coffee, they both are vata dominating because the taste which tea and coffee has is katu, thick and kashai. We have 6 tastes on diet. So 6 tastes are madhur, amla, lavan, katu, thick, kashai. Madhur is sweet, amla is lavan, amla is sour, lavan is salty, katu is pungent, thick is bitter, and kashai is astringent. So madhur is meetha, amla is khatta, lavan is namkeen, katu is tikha, thick is kadwa, and kashai is kasala. These 6 tastes we have. And tea and coffee has katu, thick, kashai. These 3 tastes. And these 3 tastes are vata dominating. So therefore we say excess of tea and excess of coffee should not be consumed, specifically black. So if a person has only 1 cup, is okay, but too much of black tea and black coffee is not recommended. Why? Because it can lead to increase of vata in the body, and vata should not increase because vata is mobile in nature. When we talk about the qualities of vata and vata, pitta and kapha, pitta and kapha are called pangu. Pangu means they don't have the mobility character. Mobility character is only in vata. So if vata increases in the body, then it can combine with pitta, it can combine with kapha and accordingly produce disorders. Or it can itself increase so much, it can again produce disorders. And once we talk about age, the childhood is the adi caste. That is the age of kapha, the youth. is the mid age, and that is the age of Pitta, and the elderly age, 60 plus, will come into the age of Vata. So all these types of disorders which we have, the Alzheimer's disease and the shaking of the body and the chorea, they are all Vata disorders. And then mind is not focused, because Vata is mobile in nature. Therefore, too much of tea and coffee, specifically black, should not be consumed too much, because that will lead to increase in Vata. Vata is mobile as well as dry in nature. So lot of dryness can happen and Vata can increase. I think if any questions come, it would be better if you have any questions regarding dietetics or whatever I have told right now. I can proceed further with the answers. Any questions you have?
Devi, someone has raised hand.
Yes, Manishji, please. Debashish Pramanik is there. Manishji, are you there?
I am allowing him.
Yeah,
Now
sir,
ask him.
I am here.
Yeah,
Devashish
Devashish ji, talk. Please ask your question.
Yes, please.
Devashish ji.
Debashish, are you there?
He is showing on the panel, but I am not able to see. Devashish ji. So, ma'am, you continue. Then let him come.
Okay. So, regarding, we were talking about dietetics and we were talking about myths of dietetics.
Devashish ji, you are there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can ask question to ma'am, please.
Hello, namaste, ma'am.
Sir?
Namaste.
Namaskar ji.
Yeah, namaste.
You are audible. Go ahead.
I can hear you, Devashish.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sleeping, नींद कितना घंटा मतलब लेना चाहिए?
एवरेज एडल्ट स्लीप 6 से 8 घंटे.
यस.
दिन में नहीं सोना है, ये रात की नींद है.
जी मैम. एंड कितना बार दिन में खाना चाहिए?
कितनी बार?
जी, खाना कितना बार खाना चाहिए?
बहुत बढ़िया प्रश्न आपने किया है, क्योंकि व्हेन टू ईट अभी मेरा पॉइंट आ ही रहा था.
जी मैम.
देखिए, कितनी बार खाना है उसमें एक बहुत क्लियर चीज है. एक काल भोजी इज इक्वल टू योगी.
यस.
द्विकाल भोजी इज इक्वल टू रोगी.
यस मैम.
कंसेप्ट आजकल ये है, अगेन ये कंसेप्ट बाहर से आते हैं, थोड़ा थोड़ा बार बार, ये कंसेप्ट है आपको. और स्पेशली अगर खुदा ना खास्ता किसी को डायबिटीज होगी तो वो तो बेचारा सारा दिन खाता ही रहे, थोड़ा थोड़ा बार बार. बट आयुर्वेदिक दृष्टिकोण से ये रोग का कारण है. आयुर्वेदिक दृष्टिकोण से द्विकाल भोजी है, दिन में 2 बार खाना चाहिए. और वो द्विकाल भोजी में भी पहला भोजन, देयर इज नो कंसेप्ट ऑफ लाइक ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच एंड डिनर इन आयुर्वेदा. ये ब्रेक द फास्ट चैप्टर जो शुरू हुआ है, ये भी विदेश से आया है. ठीक है ना. आयुर्वेद में देखा जाए या भारतीय हमारे उसमें देखा जाए तो द्विकाल भोजी ही है. और पहला भोजन जो है पित्त के काल में ले.
जी. पहला
भोजन पित्त के काल में. तो पित्त का काल अगर हम डे टाइमिंग को लें, जो 6 AM to 6 PM, ये हमने दिन किया था जब मैंने निद्रा एक्सप्लेन किया. तो 6 AM to 6 PM जो हमारा ये दिन था, दिन में पित्त का काल कौन सा आया? 10 AM to 2 PM. ये पित्त का काल है. और पित्ता इज फायर. तो इस समय के दौरान अगर हम पहला मील लेते हैं तो उसका पाचन सही होता है. तो फर्स्ट मील, मैं मील शब्द बोल रही हूँ. मील मतलब प्रॉपर भोजन, और भोजन मतलब अकॉर्डिंग टू आयुर्वेदा बैलेंस डाइट इज षट्रस प्रधान डाइट. आपके भोजन में 6 के 6 टेस्ट होने चाहिए. तो ये पहला भोजन का समय है. जब भी आपको 10 बजे से लेकर 2 बजे के बीच में जिस वक्त आपको अच्छी भूख लगती है उस वक्त खाना खाएं. दैट इज द मील टाइम. सेकेंड मील टाइम इज व्हेन द kapha starts in the evening, and that is 6 to 10 PM है, लेकिन हम 6 to 8 तक जाते हैं मैक्सिमम, क्योंकि सोने में और खाने में 2 घंटे का फर्क होना चाहिए। तो इसीलिए रात का भोजन मैक्सिमम लिमिट है 8 बजे से पहले पहले खत्म हो जाना चाहिए। तो 6 से 8 के बीच में सेकेंड मील और 10 से 2 बजे के बीच में फर्स्ट मील। तो हमें 2 बार दिन में भोजन करना चाहिए। रात का मील 8 बजे के बाद नहीं, क्योंकि 10 बजे के बाद आपने सोना नहीं। तो आपको अपने सेकेंड मील का भी टाइमिंग एडजस्ट इस तरह से करने हैं कि खाने में और सोने में कम से कम 2 घंटे का फर्क हो। अगर आप 9 बजे सो रहे हैं तो 7 बजे सेकेंड मील करें, अगर आप 8 बजे सो रहे हैं तो 6 बजे सेकेंड मील। So this is the meal timing। 2 बार दिन में भोजन करना चाहिए जो प्रॉपर स्टेज। Any other question?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much, first of all, for this wonderful lecture. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, please.
What do you suggest? What is your recommendation after all this year of experience with many people about
regarding what?
About what is the best way to take the journey from an unhealthy lifestyle toward a healthy lifestyle? Sometimes we try to build up something, and because of this discipline, the effect it is after some time people give up. There is some kind of rejection, like going to bed on right time, having the food in this way. So what is your recommendation to build up this bridge from a one way to live to a better and more balanced way to live? Thank you.
See, yeah, I've got your question. See, basically is that the lifestyle of today, which we are living, is definitely taking us towards illness. So first we need to understand the concept. Once that understanding develops, then we can very easily move forward. Because I am basically a lifestyle counselor and a psycho counselor in Ayurveda, and I have dealt thousands of patients, and I have seen that they have made changes, and they have appreciating those changes, and those changes have become their life now. The lifestyle is totally changed. So once you want to change, Ayurveda always says that there is a saat mein, means your body gets tuned to something. So if you want to start something new, start gradually, and you have to leave something wrong, again leave gradually. Sudden can give you a blow if we don't have the capacity to handle it. So gradually enter into a new lifestyle and gradually leave the wrong lifestyle. So we don't say that enter into a 100% zone, that immediately change 100%. Gradually make a point that today I will work upon this, then once if this much is over, now I add this, then I add this. So gradually when you will be doing it, you start enjoying that change lifestyle, because that is going to bring changes in your biochemistry inside and bring you to that zone of happiness. That is definitely going to bring you. Definitely. But in this, we need to take out this time, that is minimum 2.5 to 3 hours per day. We have to take out for our own self. If we say I don't have time, then I can only say that I'm sorry. Because we have, if we can take out time for work, if we can take out time for everybody, why can't we take out time for our own self? We should put a question to our own self. Why? Why I become so much negligent for my own self? So we need, because this is my body, my soul. I am responsible for this. I need to love myself. So when I take yoga classes, when I end the yoga class, I always say 4 things to yourself. Once we are taking this energy to all the body parts, we say 4 things to yourself. Love yourself. Accept yourself. Whatever you are, I am. Yes, this is me. Nobody else can be me. I should honor, I should accept. And that acceptance is in a happy mode. So love yourself, accept yourself, respect yourself. What I am. I love, I respect. And then, after accepting, respecting, loving, then is forgive yourself. Then we just pray to the power which we believe in. Whatever wrong has happened by me, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive myself. So these 4 things every day we should talk to our own self. Feel your own self. Love yourself, accept yourself, respect yourself, and forgive yourself. Once we start doing these 4 things with our own self every day, then what happens is this works outside, because your harmony will start inside. So once that harmony within body, mind, organs and soul starts, now this we start spreading. So what happens is we start loving it. We start accepting the others the way they are. We don't want them to change. We start accepting them. We start respecting everyone, because I develop respect for my own self. And then whatever wrong anybody has done with me anytime, I enter into a zone of forget and forgive. Now these things are very important in life. So we need to make changes, and healthy changes. And that is, this is not a big blow, I'm telling you. The life is very, very, very simple to live. We make it complicated by our own thoughts. We enter into panicking zones. We should know our abilities and capabilities and work that much only. This life is not going to come again, so it is a birthright to enjoy the life also. So that is what it is. Make these changes. Try to develop a habit to get up maximum by 6 o'clock in the morning. If you can't get up at 4. I am talking about that I get up in between 4 to 5, because these habits are made right from childhood. So I would request all persons who are hearing me and who have small children, you should sleep at before 10 o'clock, because children are going to just see you. You don't have to teach directly to children. Children are just going to see you, and we need to be true with them. So, because I had this habit right from childhood, from school life. Therefore, that habit is maintained. But if we don't have that habit, then gradually, no need to get up at 4 o'clock. Get up at 6 o'clock. Get up, even if you can't get up at 6 o'clock, you're getting up at 7 o'clock, but don't get up with a guilt. Never have a guilt in life. Oh my goodness, I had to get up at 6, I got up at 7. My goodness, this is very bad. Don't start your day with this. Don't. It's a trial. Try and try until you succeed. So it's just a trial. So try with this concept that I should get up before 6 a.m. in the morning. That's the concept. Even if you're getting up at 8 o'clock, because if you have a habit of getting up at 9 o'clock, you have come to 8. That's the beauty. 1 hour before. Now make a change. 7 o'clock. Then come to 6 o'clock. Maintain 6 o'clock. This is gradual change. Now once you will get up early in the morning, then you will have time for your own self. Because my mom used to say, if you get up early in the morning, then the day is too long. You can do so many things. But if we get up, just I have to leave at 9 o'clock and I'm getting up at 8 o'clock, I have time for nothing. And that morning time is actually the time which gives us power and energy which we can consume the whole day. Because nowadays when we talk to children also, parents say that children study at night. No, sorry, we should not advocate this. That study at night. We should not. If you have a habit, try to gradually change. So first, to enter into a good lifestyle is changing the habit of sleeping and getting up. That is the first and the foremost thing which we need to work upon. Once that will change, other things will automatically come. The first change we need to make is changing the habit of sleeping and getting up in the morning. Whatever work you do 2 hours at night, maybe from 10 to 12 at night, those 2 hours, and you are getting up in the morning at 8, now you are getting up at 6. So those 2 hours you can work in the morning. So with that, what will happen is you are becoming close to nature. So moonlight is there, starlight is there, darkness is there. You should go to sleep now. Sun is about to rise, get up. Now once you become close to nature, nature heals and nature gives you power. Therefore, I always ask people to go out in nature. The Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, we should go out in nature. Feel the nature. Hear the chirping of the birds in the morning. That's very, very important. You will start doing this. Just do it for 1 to 3 months on a regular basis. Then that will become a habit of yours. And you start enjoying it. What happens is people make sudden changes and then they come back to the previous because they are not able to maintain it. So for maintenance, it is better to make a gradual change and every change starts enjoying that, and then gradually you will enter into a zone of having a permanent. And that is important for a human life, that we go to sleep at night at 10 and get up in the morning. Then giving 2.5 hours for your own self. Whatever work you are doing, do that work. So for your work profile, 8 hours you can work, maximum 10 hours you work. Don't work more than 10 hours. Why we should do so much of work? There are a number of other things which we need to do. Na? So amongst 24 hours, you take out 7 hours of your night sleep. And 8 hours or 10 hours maximum for your work. So 10 plus 7, 17 hours you have taken out. Now still you have so many hours in your hand. Now take out 3 hours for your personal timing, where you need to work at the physical, mental, social, spiritual level. So 10 hours you are doing the professional work, 7 hours you are sleeping, and 3 hours you have everything, and that is how the lifestyle will change and we'll start enjoying every moment of life. That is only required for health and happiness. Any other question? Have you got an answer, ma'am?
So, ma'am, we can go for 1 or 2 more questions. So, there is one question from our colleague, Dr. Anshu Agrawal. Can you please suggest some food to increase immunity?
Food to increase immunity? This is the question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now it is that, like at present time, we are into a status of COVID-19, and COVID-19 has till date, we have not got any particular medicine in any system of medicine which is directly working upon COVID-19 case. And this is spreading a lot. The only thing which has come out is increase your immunity. Fine. So yes, to increase our immunity, all those things which I've talked right now, working at 4 levels, Ahar, Vihara, Char, Vichar, they are extremely important, because actually these are the things which increase the immunity, and having a good lifestyle, working on Traya of Pastamb, they increase the immunity. But along with that, Ministry of Ayush, I hope you all know that we have a Ministry of Ayush, which is for Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy. These are the systems which are included in Ministry of Ayush. Ministry of Ayush has taken up one Ayush Quart, one decoction for increasing the immunity specifically in this COVID-19. And this is a decoction, and it is in the form of herbal tea. And it has 4 components. One is dalchini, the cinnamon. The other is shunthi, which is dry ginger powder. The third is black pepper, kali mirch. And the fourth is tulsi, the basil. Either you take in the form of leaf or you take in the form of tulsi powder. So these are the 4 things in the ratio of 4:2:2:1. So this is a quart. In the form of herbal tea, you can prepare it, and this is for improving the immunity. First, this I've talked about for the COVID-19 part. Then is to improve the immunity, we always say that ghee should be consumed every day. Why? Because ghee is Agni Vardhak. When we talk about dietetics in Ayurveda, we talk about qualities. We don't talk about more of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, minerals, vitamins. Ghee is Agni Vardhak, Baladayak, Sharirik Baladayak, Mano Baladayak, Smriti Vardhak, Medha Vardhak, Mano Shamak. So these are the qualities of ghee, the pure ghee. And I always ask people to prepare ghee at home. So this ghee improves the immunity. This is there. Herbal tea I've told you. Then we can have some medicines in the form of like Chyawanprash. We have Chyawanprash, that is also the base of that is Amla, and Chyawanprash is also for improving the immunity. So these are certain, and then in our daily routine when we are cooking, as Indians, we all have that tendency to use all Indian spices in cooking. So all Indian spices which we use, whether we're using cumin or coriander, according to season also we use. So if we are using that, all the Indian spices, they are on an average antioxidants and they increase the immunity. The next which has come up is having milk with turmeric powder, which the Western culture have given the name of golden milk to it. So milk with turmeric powder, that is also for immunity. Anything else? Have you got the answer, sir?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'll request Dr. Om Trivedi, our HOD from School of Liberal Arts and Human Science, to give the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for walking us through the pathway to a good and healthy life, and the grammar to which could be manifested, as you rightly said, in having a balanced food and sleeping pattern. You also rightly evocated the idea of harmony, and this was always insisted by our late Vice Chancellor, Professor Avdesh Kumar Singh, sir, that we need to have an harmony among the body, mind, organ, and soul that you rightly pointed out. Because the failure to do so would result in what, and I'm not taking a recourse to a Western philosophy, what Jung Chul Han, the famous Korean philosopher, says, a burnout society. A society which is marked by excessivity, overburden, and completely immersed with itself. Therefore, what you said, that there will be a disconnect from the nature. So thank you so much. On behalf of the School of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences, we offer our gratitude to you for spending your valuable time with us and our audience. And we look forward to having you on campus once the classroom teaching commences. And thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Devi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. So we are looking for more session on Ayurveda and yoga. And once lockdown is over, we want your physical presence in our university. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks to all.